Hello, how are you? Uh, oh boy, uh, we're in the middle we're starting off actually a making thing. So anyway, let me know if you can hear me and the video isn't too iffy, other than the subject matter. And when people get decide to show up, we'll get talking on it. Okay, uh, so what do you hear? What do you say? Anyone? Okay. Knock, knock. Well, I guess people either aren't staying up late enough or they're getting up too early or one of the two. Ah, is see the two of you are there, and I don't know who you are. And if you'd like to introduce yourself, I'll say hi. Hi, Joas. Oh, it's good evening. Now you're in the Philippines, right? Joas. Is that correct? Ah, it's good evening there. Yeah, it would be. How was the day today? We'll find out later. There's no notification on my feed. Oh, that's funny. Indonesia. Okay. How are things in Indonesia going? Hi, Eddie. How you doing? Ah, we are still in a state of isolation, social distancing, and so forth. And it's out of a necessary caution. I decided that I've been hearing all this stuff. This is an abundance of caution. It's not an abundance of caution. It's a necessary one. Hey, Junior, Clyde, how you doing, man? It's under control now. This is in Indonesia. Good. The mortality rate is still high. Hi, Ian. How you doing? I got a bunch of pictures and stuff from you, Ian. Thank you. Um, why don't we charge right ahead? By the way, both of my movements that I had ordered about, gee whiz, must have been 3 weeks ago, maybe just 2 weeks ago. Sort of time has gone on to into a very strange time. But anyway, I got both of my movements yesterday, and so now I'm going to try to put up a demonstration of resonance with them. Hey, Al. Thanks to AC3, I've been in social isolation for 3 years. Hi, Orange Hand. How you doing? Okay. Glad to see everybody. Is I'm hoping everyone who is here is well and healthy and so forth. And uh, we're planning on keeping it that way. Uh, I think the sort of the distancing and the isolation and so forth is starting to people are are becoming more and more. On the one hand, they're upset in some places, and but never leave it to amateurs to make really bad decisions. So now now they're starting to make better decisions. Thank goodness. Okay, so let's get going. What I wanted to do today, we had come to the point of sort of laying the um, the dial on top of the movement. Now, the reason I'm holding it like this is that I've got to screw down the feet. Now, I have pictures of it here. Now, remember, this is sort of go through the sequence we did. The first thing we had to do, we had to put on the gear and the washer for the hour hand, and that simply goes right on top of the center. and right on top of the center uh, shaft. Okay, so we just put that right on top. That's this is, and remember, we can talk about the dial side. I'll call the other side the movement side, even though it's the whole thing's a movement. But right here, you just take your tweezers and drop it right on top of that. It's an easy operation, but unfortunately, it's also an easy piece to lose. And if you lose that, you don't have an hour hand. You really can't go any further until you get it. Now, on top of that, right on top of the hour hand gear, you put a little copper washer, and you have it. It's sort of bent like this, and the bent up side is what you want up, like shown right here. Now, the other thing that we talked about was that you have, if especially dealing with a subdial, about the only way to find a subdial when you have this part off. Well, I don't want to take it off now, but what you do is that you take your finger and you run it along the top of the dial, and you're probably some people will get the vapors hearing that because you're really not supposed to touch it, but it's so small. This is what it looks like right here. Here's that hour gear on top of the center shaft, and then at 9 o'clock, you have the this thing sticks out. This is you can see how beat up my tweezers are, but you find that with your finger, um, and that works out pretty well. And so what you do is that when you put the dial on, you you align the center one with the second hand shaft, and once you do that, then the 2 feet will go into the holes that they have for them. If you remember or not, but right here and right here, on the other side, you'll see these holes. But this side is where you lock them, and the way we lock them, show you with this. Way we lock them is to we go in here to right in here where the locking screws are, and we just turn it like a half a turn, even a quarter of a turn. We'll do it because we're not dealing with something that's a screw down. Instead, it simply puts uh, here you have the feet going down like that, and what you have like a little cam that just tightens that up, and so you're able to keep the dial on the movement. Okay, let's see what's going on, everybody. Who you got here? Uh, Eddie, yeah, it's starting to lose its charm. No kidding. Uh, yeah, what charm? Well, it's a funny kind of thing. I saw this. One of my neighbors he's in a Fidelco thing, and he was out with his Fidelco dog, and it was a little puppy. And what they do is they send him these dogs, and he trains him, and he's really good at it. So we see him walking up and down the street with his dogs, training them. Man, that guy was he lives by himself, and his spouse is, I think, out of state. So he's all by himself. The only thing he's got is this dog, and he was so happy the dog. And then when he sees us on across the street, he starts talking like mad. And people are used to seeing people every day, so it's understandable. Okay, hey Mike, how you doing? Bruce, um, let's see what else is going on. Hey, Clyde Mills, how you doing? And John, and Underachiever, and Mark Kosmala. Hi. Okay, well, so anyway, so this is what we're doing now. This is a picture of you can barely see it right here, but that's the shaft for the second hand. And this is the big shaft for the outer one is for the hour hand, and the inner one is for the minute hand. And so when we get this guy all locked up and we have it on, then we'll put we can put we can put the hands on, and then uh, once we got the hands on, we're we're ready to put it into the case, but uh, we have to put in the stem and the crown, and so we have to go into the case, put the stem and a crown on, into the movement, and then we have to trim it, make sure it's the right size so everything looks nice, and from then on, um, that's about it. It's not very hard to do, and I did mention that you can save a fortune in terms of the cost of having a watch, and then you can start playing around with them. And okay, let me talk about a couple things real quick here in terms of movements. How many of you actually have either have a movement or have an old watch that you're taking apart and putting together? Anybody have one of those right now? I I know that. Oh wow. Okay. Nobody. All right. Now, uh, I just got uh, two new movements, and what I'm going to do with these is rig them up so that they're in. Where is it thing? I have them labeled A and B, and it looks like I lost my tag that I had for the B. Anyway, what I want to do is put the two balances next to each other, and I'll take them out of the case and everything. But I've already put them through my time grapher, and they have really good times on them. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know if we can do it right now, but we're the one thing, if you don't have a movement, this one is a 6498 clone, and the thing about this particular one, the regulator is a very difficult regulator. I mean, it doesn't have a big stick, like some of the other ones. Let me see if I can find it. I just had it. Is this it? Nope. I've got it. I keep. Well, some regulators. Let me show you this one. This one, the regulator on this one is a swan's neck. And yesterday we were talking about um, the pros and cons of a swan's neck regulator, and the to me they're hard to work with because you have to. There's a little bitty screw, and what you do is you push against the swan's neck spring with it, and then it moves a regulator dial, and either or you loosen it and for faster or slower. The one I like, I don't know if you can see this one or not. Um, ah, try to get, oh, geez, doggone it. Well, you want to see a broken one? I keep breaking cases. Ah, good. Well, it's ticking away. It's sort of was, didn't want to tick, does now. Let me get this thing set up right. There we go. Okay. Right here, see this thing right here? See that big stick going up there? That's a regulator post. And all you do is you take a toothpick and you can push it one way or the other. It's perhaps not as precise as a swan's neck, but boy, it's a lot easier. Just take a toothpick or a pegwood stick and push that sucker up there, and you're good to go. Hi, Fahrenheit 451. Uh, okay. Just basic regulating here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that the two new ones that I got, I didn't pay any attention to that because I was more interested in getting two identical movements, and the ones here have sort of a stacked thing, and it's not and if you push the wrong one, everything goes haywire. So I don't like them as devices for regulators, but I'm going to have to get smart with them. Of course, the other ones would be your free sprung balance, and dealing with weights and things like that. you you really need to have a lot of talent. Hey, NS something, how you doing? Um, okay, Radoslaw, how are you? I like vintage Omega and Longines. May it be a good topic one day. Um, I'll tell you, Radoslaw, I don't know much. I don't pay much attention to the vintage ones. I have a couple, but any topic is fine. But I know nothing about them. I mean, there might be some interesting things that people have about a vintage Omega or Longines, and that'd be fine. The thing about some of these older Longines, they've got some really interesting movements, and so we may talk about that. Let's see. Let's see. JLC's master control testing, complete with shock testing. Yeah, yeah, they got my movements have got to be tough, because something happened. Something always happened. I've got my desktop here covered with uh, mouse pads, and they're pretty soft, and so it's a good thing. It's sort of like a padded cell. Uh, okay, what's going on? Let's see. Everybody is greeting each other. That's good. Uh, the movement is now a B shock. Yeah, the B shock. Okay. Yeah, I gotta. That's part of my testing thing. If they survive my watchmaking, then they're a tough watch. Okay, it's easy to regulate a watch based on the usual resting position of the watch. Is it? It is easier. Yeah. Well, if to me the usual resting position is sort of like this, since I just put it down flat, and then you have to the regulator that I used to get this is sort of a quick and dirty regulator is my Freddie Constant one, which is called the analyzer. And this big one at the bottom is like the microphone that listens to it. And this one at the top is simply for holding it down. And so what you do is that you put, um, let me see if I got something here. Here's one. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this is the one I dropped. Let's see if it's okay. Yes, it is. It's still working. Um, most of the whammy uh, hit on the plastic case. Unfortunately, it didn't bend anything or anything like that. And so, what I do here's the balance wheel. And I like to put it right over the balance wheel, and that way. So the and then you can turn it around in different ways. My big time grapher, my real time grapher, has a little case in it. You can turn it around with that. But the the next steps really with this is, what we'll do, we got it set up here like this. Everything is together, and tighten the screws. And I'm not even going to pretend that I can do that live, because if I do, I'm liable to do something I shouldn't. Good thing I dropped that other one. There it is. And you'll tighten that. And then what we can do I'm going to start putting the hands on. And once the hands are on, the next step is to pop it into the case right here. Here's the case we're going to use, and the you align the 3 o'clock with this little guy here, and so let's see. There's some more stuff involved, but like this, and whoops, it's upside down. It's not exactly aligned. That's another thing I don't want to try to do on the fly, because it's another thing I can break on the fly. I'm good at that, and I know the rules. Okay, so okay, possibly is it easier regular way? Possibly getting ahead of things. Do you have to align the second hand to zero? Is there a special trick? Not one that I know. If I can get the second hand on, I am so happy. It can be anything. Um, yeah, the I don't think I don't think any of these have hacking, which is thank God. That's another thing that I'm not a big hacking fan. But anyway, there's I mean, it's really not that hard. The tools that we talked about yesterday, we got all of them. They're all ready to go. And so, what I'll do uh, after after we're finished here is that I'll go in and I'll tighten the screws, and so then I'll have a secure thing so that when I turn it upside down, the whole works don't fall off. And then we build a watch. We'll talk about sourcing things. Like I said, I got these. See if I got the right ones here. Oh, here they are. I got these guys, um, A and B, and these are for my for setting up the resonance. And what I can do, I thought, well, I can just take them and put them on something, and just lay them out and see if it works. Basically, what I'm going to have to do, okay, you can see, I wound them up, and like I said, and I tested them, and they all come in excellent. That's something else too. I want to do is to take a look at the what excellent settings are. You can see, so that's it. Yeah. So I'm going to have to set them up something like this, and put the balance wheels right next to each other, and then that way I can test resonance. Then I'll take a slow motion video of it and see if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Like this, and then I can, once I'm finished with that, I can go out and use the both of the movements in other watches. Okay, let's see. Rado show. Hi, Swan neck is easier to work with. Only screwdriver is necessary, but without Sean necks, you need a micrometer screw to adjust it accurately. No kidding. This is the thing: is that all you need when you just have the needle to push back and forth is a toothpick, and I prefer using a toothpick over anything that's possibly magnetic. Um, the swan neck. Uh, I've done both, and the swan neck can be very difficult because you've got this micro screw, and then you have to put it into a micro screw and then turn it one way or the other. And if the swan neck isn't set up right, um, you got other things you have to deal with. But Arado Schlaw, use whatever you like, okay, if that works for you. Hacking isn't that hard. It's just an L-shaped piece that goes uh, on the sliding pinion. Yeah, Eddie, the ones I've seen they work like the looks like a brake on a wagon wheel. You've got you have these. They basically stop the balance. And those are the ones that bother me. Now maybe there's some other. I'm sure there's some other ones. They have really good ones, I think, on the hacking are the what they call a stop second on H Mosers, and those I think those are pretty cool. I've heard out of class. Change the window on my computer. Take care. Okay, Eddie, have a good time. Um, modern hacking is perfectly fine. Oh, and that's something you're probably right, but the with the kinds of movements and so forth they've been using, I don't know. Without swan neck adjuster, you need micrometer screw attachment to adjust it accurately. Yeah, you're right about that, Radoshar. You can get better accuracy with a swan neck. But I've been able to set them to zero using a lot of patience with a simply with moving the needle back and forth. So if you prefer a swan neck and you can do it, yeah, you can get more accuracy with that. I agree with that. Um, the 5 or 6 position adjustment is that final result on average of all. Yeah, that's what it is, Mark. It is an average. They have what I've done is that I've written down all of the different settings and what's supposed to be excellent and acceptable for settings, and I can once we if, get to a point where we want to do that, I can put those up. Hi Rohit, how you doing? Yeah, it's adjusted to many positions, the average of all positions. You know, yeah. So, Joe Haseo, that's right. It's like when you see something that says adjusted to 6 positions. They got some really, what will I call it? Very precise instruments, and it takes so the reason it costs more for a COSC and to do it that way is that they have these they have to go through all these instrumentations for each of the positions, and in order to get it to the best average, then you have to do something else with it. I wonder if there are any DIY price movements with dual swan necks for both the regulator and pinion alignment, bead error adjustment. I, you know what, and that's something I think um, I I don't know. Take a look at AliExpress. They have all kinds. But you mentioned that, and I saw a dual swan neck on a uh, Glasuda original. I was looking at some yesterday, and I saw one with they look like dragonfly wings. They're really cool. Did you resuscitate your Raymond Weil? uh, that at one point wasn't working. Well, it wasn't working because I didn't wind it up, and you got to go like that. Yeah, it's sitting over here. The only thing left to do on my Raymond Weil is to I'm going to put it into a cleaning solution and get all the gunk out of it, and then put the screws back in. There is nothing I like less or enjoy less than putting the screws back in. It seems like, oh well, that's pretty easy, but not for me. I've got to. You take those needle nose pliers and you grab the screw by the neck, and then you drop it into the hole, and then you take your screwdriver and very carefully. Once you get them all started, it's not hard, but I don't know. That gives me the heebie-jeebies more than anything. Probably because one day I lost one of the screws, and okay, let's see. My Tudor ETA is adjusted to 5 positions with positional error of 15 seconds, meaning that if you rest your watch on the opposite position of your daily use, it will negate the slow or fast effect. Hmm, that's interesting. Like I said, the a lot of this stuff, I think, you guys certainly helped clarify it for me because I always take the path of least resistance when it comes to regulation and setting a watch. Um, but I've been able to get them a nice, very accurate one. The one I want to do the on the regulation is trying to get them all set to the right angle so they do it, and then make a gizmo that I can swing down. It's really funny, and trying to dream up something. One of the best examples is the one that Abraham Burgay used. He's got one that's steady, and then he has one that sort of swings down for adjustment, and it's exactly the same on the FP Journe resonance. Anyway, guys, well, listen, it's 8:30, and I've got to run. Yesterday went way over, and so well, tomorrow morning, we'll start putting the. I'll tighten up the feet on the movement, and uh, we'll put the hands on. Take care and stay safe. And remember, it's not through an abundance of caution that we we have social distance. It's just like a very necessary caution. So hang in there.